Hi, Melanie. So thanks for sending this new set of essays in. Let's take a look at what you wrote here. It's a chart about world spending and population. Let's see what you said. The bar charts compare the proportions of the global expenditure for 5 kinds of products, okay, and the percentages of population in 5 different areas. Overall, the number of Asian people takes the majority portion of the global population, while the quantity of world spending in the other category is the highest of all types of products. Okay, um, good overall. I want you to be careful with this word here, the number. There's no mention of number here. We're talking just about proportions, just about percentages. So, you want to avoid referring to numbers. I mean, does this percentage probably refer to the number of people? Yes, it does. But still, since everything you're seeing here is in percentages, keep it as percentage. Sometimes students think, okay, well, I don't want to use the word percent, percent, percent all the time. And I understand that. And that's good. You do need to try to change that around a little bit. So, some alternatives are using the word percentage, and then of course portion, proportion, and figure. These figure is actually one of my favorite words because it can be used in any number of contexts. So it's a great solution. So you could have said something like, overall, the figure for Asian people, um, this is a little strange, takes the majority portion of the global population. I understand what you mean, but it still felt a little awkward. So let's try it again. Overall, the figure for Asian people uh, is the highest globally. That's all you need to say, okay? While the quantity for of world spending in the other category, here you may want to put the word other in quotes so that we know other is being used as a title here and not as a word other. All right, let's continue. Now, you can't do this. This is not a full sentence. So you need to put a comma here. And I'm never really a huge fan of the word commencing like this. I know some people like to use it. I see it a lot in IELTS essays, but it's not particularly natural. So I would actually redo that. You could have said something like, regarding world expenditure, comma, um, what are you saying here? Now, so this is why you need the quotations. Other, okay, you put in quotes in here, is remarkably more popular than the other products at 40%. So you needed to show that this is actually the name of the category, okay? Other. And that's how you could do it. You can put it in quotes. So other is remarkably more popular than the, and if you want to make it even clearer, you could have said then the remaining products at 40%. This is followed by food, which constitutes almost a quarter of the total number. Okay, again, we're not talking about numbers here. We're talking about figures. We're talking about proportions. So you could have said that as well. Proportion would have been good. Okay. The expenditure on transport and housing is 18% and 12%, respectively. By contrast, clothing represents the least proportion of the 5 items, at only 6% of the whole global spending. Okay? The other paragraph. As for the population of the whole world, 57% of people come from Asia. The figures for Europe and Americans are similar at 14% respectively. The percentage of the world population in Africa accounts for 10%, whereas the quantity of other, again, put it in quotes, area is half of this at merely 5%. Okay, so let me tell you a few good things and some not so great things. The first thing is that your grammar was good. You did everything nicely in terms of grammar, in terms of lexis, in terms of organization. All that was fine. Let me tell you now what I thought needed work here. I thought that the way you presented the figures needed work. This especially just felt really, really, the word examiners use is mechanical. In other words, it was just like what a machine would do. So 40%, 24, and then 18, and then 12. So there really was no analysis here. There was no comparison. There was really none of that. It's like you just went down the line. Did you use a variety of words and expressions and grammar to do that? Yeah, you did. But you didn't really do anything with the information. So it's not enough to just go down the row, as it were, but you actually have to do other things with these figures to make them feel not so mechanical. So it could be something like, let's see, the undefined other category, other again in quotes, was responsible for the highest portion of global spending at 40%. This was followed by the food category at 16% less. Okay. And then obviously somebody can do the math and figure out that it's 24%. So, and you then, if you want, you can also just, highlight it even more and say, thus, food accounted for 1/4 of overall global spending. And then you can say the remaining categories all fell under 20%, starting with transport at merely 18%. Okay. And then you could use other mathematical sort of things. You can say that housing was 1/3 less, or you can say that housing accounted for 2/3 of the figure of transport. I mean, there are a lot of different things you can do. You don't have to do these sorts of things in every sentence, but you do have to do something with them. I think it's really interesting to say that. I think you did this, didn't you? Oh, I think you did it elsewhere. You could say that clothing was just half of the figure of housing. Another really interesting way to do this is starting with the highs and then going directly to the lows, and then just kind of saying something interesting about the middle. So that would look like talking about other. That would look like talking about food. And then I would probably say that clothing was just 1/4 the figure of food, and that the next most popular category, housing, was half the figure of food. Okay. So you could do things like that. And then you could have another sentence about transport. So it's just different ways of doing it that, number one, show that you're not just mechanically going down the row. Okay. So you're doing something with those figures. You're showing some sort of critical thinking about the figures, but also you're doing something more than just going down the row first, second, third, fourth, fifth. Okay. So that's one of the reasons why I like this. Okay. So start with the top, maybe go to the second, and then go straight to the bottom. And then something like, in contrast, the lowest was 6, which was, 1/4 the figure of food. All right, so you get the point. And then you go up and then you go up, or something like that. Okay. Just to give you some ideas there. So that's pretty much what I want to tell you about this. All right. Why don't we move on to your task 2? So moving on to your task 2. Is it better for students to work before university study? Why? Let's see what you said. Some people argue that before going to university, it is more beneficial for pupils to enter the workforce. I recognize that young adults go to work. No, I recognize that young adults going to work earlier has some advantages, but meanwhile, it could result in several shortcomings. Therefore, I do not think that working before attending college, singular, is better than study in university directly. Okay, fine. Students enter the job market. Again, your grammar is a problem here. Students entering the job market prior to their college study has a myriad of benefits. You need to have an ing here because this is all part of a noun phrase. So you don't want this to be in the verb form. Students entering the job market prior to their college study has a myriad of benefits. To begin with, they could earn money and have a better financial condition. Let's see, 1 second. Okay. To underpin their future study. A large number of students who apply, no, a large number of students apply for loans because the cost of attending universities is astronomical. Instead, young people who choose to work at first and then get a college diploma could make money and have more, no, savings, not deposit. Consequently, they have no debts because they do not need to borrow money for their university fees. Moreover, young individuals could explore their interests while working, ing. They accept realistic challenges such as how to repair machines, implement a project, and cope with difficult customers in person. These valuable experiences, plural, make them have a comprehensive understanding of a certain industry and help them find, with a D, their callings. Okay, so I like what you've done here in terms of coherence and cohesion and task achievement. As you can see, there are a number of mistakes in terms of vocabulary as well as some grammar. So I really want you to be careful. It could have been a really good paragraph without all of those mistakes. So you really have to work on your accuracy. Okay, let's take a look at the next paragraph here. On the other hand, there are several disadvantages about entering the workforce instead of continuous study. Firstly, young adults may find it difficult to integrate into, no, you don't integrate into classmates. So, firstly, young adults may find it difficult to integrate with their classmates in college, singular, because they lack similar topics. Okay, this is a little awkward. I don't think this is what you mean. So again, we're having a problem with vocabulary, but we'll talk about it in a minute. To illustrate, the majority of pupils pursue further study directly rather than enter the job market, singular. Therefore, they do not possess work experience. As a result, both types of students have a different worldview and are, wrong word again, to build a close-knit relationship. Okay, so let's try this one more time. Firstly, young adults may find it difficult to integrate with their classmates in college because they lack commonalities or they lack common ground. You could say one of those expressions. Let's see. Therefore, they do not. Okay, as a result. All right, now you didn't mean arduous either, and they are reluctant to build a close-knit relationship. That would have worked. Or both types of students have a different worldview and have difficulty building a close-knit relationship. So any one of those would have been okay. All right. Let's see. Furthermore, students with work experience may not get used to a frugal lifestyle since they are accustomed to having ing after the to here, accustomed to plus ing, a steady income stream. For example, they could not accept, no, they may not accept the environment of a crowded dorm because they rented a high quality apartment and they had been living there for a while when they worked. Now, here what you've done is a generalization, and you want to avoid this. Generalizations are one of the hallmarks of a band 6. So you want to temper this. You don't want to make it so absolute. Instead, you want to say things like, you want to hedge. So furthermore, students with work experience may have difficulty getting used to a frugal lifestyle since they may be accustomed to having a steady income. For example, they might not accept the environment of a crowded dorm since some of them have rented a high quality apartment. Okay, so all of this is making it less absolute. So you're talking about a specific group of people and you're not generalizing this to everybody. And that's important. That shows a certain kind of language skill if you can kind of temper this language. That's something I want you to work on. Okay, let's see. I actually thought that this was a little too specific. I wanted it maybe to be a little more general. So you could have talked about something else that's maybe difficult rather than like, hey, I'm used to having money and now I'm a student. Maybe you could have talked about something that might be, let's see. Well, it doesn't really matter. I mean, your ideas are fine, but I just want to maybe suggest something else that might be a little more universal and not so specific. Okay. So, in conclusion, the outcomes of having some work experience prior to further study, outcomes of having some work experience prior to further study have both pros and cons in equal measure without the and. Therefore, I do not approve. No. Therefore, I do not believe that one is better than the other. Okay, so here you've got some awkwardness, and I want you to be careful with that. It's the last statement in your essay. You want it to be strong, you want it to be accurate. So aim for accuracy here. Even if it means being a little safer with your language, I prefer it. You want to have a nice, strong finish, okay? All right. So correct these, return a new set of essays to us. I'll be waiting. I'm here. I'll take a look at the essays you sent back to us. Although you should know, we look at them, but we don't really provide any further feedback on them. It's really just for your benefit, so you can practice and exercise, the things that we're talking about. Okay, so I'll be waiting for your next set, and good luck to you.